The Nikon Z30 plus the 24-200 has been an insane camera combo for landscape photography, and I desperately want to talk about it in this video, so let's jump right in. What's up, y'all? It's Project Photography back with another video, and today, before we get started, make sure to follow all of my socials down in the description bar below. But this right here is probably the best telephoto combo that I have for landscape photography. And of course, a Z6 would have better image quality than a Z30. And you might be asking yourself, okay, a while ago, back in 2022, I actually switched from the Nikon Z50 plus a 50-250 to the Z6 plus a 24-200, citing concerns over image quality in particular. I wanted to move to full frame. And then you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, like, isn't that a little bit of a contradiction? And for me, it is a little bit, but I'm gonna be honest with you, there is so much that I love about the 24-200 paired with the Z30 in particular that I feel like makes it such a lethal combo. And a major reason I'm able to use a Z30 with the 24-200 is because I have two Nikon Z6s. Now this gives me the flexibility to be able to go on shoot and have the better image quality of a Nikon Z6, or have more telephoto reach with a Z30 and all the other features that come along with it. And obviously, as you guys can tell, a major reason why I love the Z30 plus a 24-200 is that the Z30 actually makes this lens into a 36-300. Now, this gives us a little bit of extra reach, and obviously this is a really nice focal range, because if you have the 14-30 with a Z6 and the 24-200 with a Z30, you're essentially able to cover 14mm, and we're talking wide angle all the way through 300mm with zero gap. And something that I found that's really interesting about this combo in particular is that I feel like the Z30 actually makes the 24-200 a better lens. Now, of course, we're not just talking about the fact that we have 300mm on the long end. Because we have a crop sensor, we're able to use the more center portion of the frame. Now, it's not going to be completely the center portion of the frame, but as a lot of you guys know, the center portion of a lens is actually where you get the best performance. Now, performance issues like vignetting and sharpness do not become as much of an issue because we're able to get the only center part of the frame. We're eliminating the vignetting on the corners, especially wide open. And as a landscape photographer, you're trying to capture as much detail as possible. And you're able to do that with a crop sensor. I almost akin it to like using the Plena with a regular Nikon Z6. With the 24-200, because we're able to use the center portion of the frame with the Z30, such a big advantage over the Z6. So with that being said, let's take a quick break and talk about our friends over at Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is our partner for today's episode and offers premium wireless for as little as $15 a month. And even though Mint helped me save money on my phone bill, it didn't cut corners in speed, coverage, or data. So if you're interested, scan the QR code on screen or check the link in my description. And when I switched, it was super easy thanks to their eSIM cards. It allowed me to switch from my previous provider to Mint from the comfort of my own home in 15 minutes. The cost savings has been huge for me as a landscape photographer, as I have been able to travel the world and go to better locations as a result of the cost savings. And if you know me, you know I love to save on camera gear. So why should your phone plan be any different? Because you shouldn't pay more to have access to premium wireless when Mint Mobile is run on the nation's largest 5G network. I personally use Mint Mobile myself and absolutely would not be talking about it if I didn't like it. So make sure to check out Mint on the QR code on my screen or check the link in my description for the best deal in wireless. Thank you again to Mint Mobile for partnering with us in today's episode, and let's talk about the Nikon Z30 plus the 24-200 as a landscape photographer. So of course we know the Z30 makes the 24-200 a better lens. But here's the thing, right? When it comes to using the Z30 for the telephoto camera, I actually feel like it solves a lot of the issues that the Z30 has. I mean, think about it like this. The Nikon Z6 has more megapixels than a Z30. It has about 4 more megapixels, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like 20% more. And we can get rid of that megapixel issue with the Z30 by shooting panoramas. And naturally with a telephoto camera, that's where you're gonna be shooting a lot of. And the other issue would be dynamic range. Of course, we're not gonna get as good dynamic range with a Z30, but when I'm using a Z30 plus the 24-200 as my telephoto lens, we're really able to capture more HDRs and get better dynamic range as a result. And it's interesting because the panoramas and HDRs are just techniques that you would naturally use with a telephoto camera. And that's why I really think the Z30 is better as a telephoto camera. Of course, I think it'd be better than that over a wide angle because a lot of those techniques you really won't be able to take advantage of when you're using a wide angle lens. Ergonomically, I actually prefer the Z30 over the Z6 in a few areas. First of all, the Z30 is a lot lighter, and of course, balancing it with the 24-200, it does feel a little bit lens heavy. Most of the time though, you're gonna be using it on a tripod. It's a lot more compact. And because we don't have that EVF, and having a flipping screen allows us to have better compositions, especially in vertical orientation. There's a lot to like about the Z30 and the 24-200. And to top it all off, we have the big record button, which makes it a lot easier to punch in for focus versus something like the Z6, where it's a lot smaller, obviously. So I'm really a fan of this combo as my primary telephoto camera for landscape photography. But of course, this is just one aspect of landscape photography. And if I did want better image quality, I do have that second Z6. So I don't feel like I'm stuck using the Z30 when I want to grab those better images. And for me personally, I'd rather use a combo like this over something like a 100-400 paired with a Z6. Because of course you get the better telephoto reach and you actually will get better image quality. But to me, the size factor is a major reason why the Z30 plus the 24-200 is such an incredible combo. I mean, look at this, it's absolutely tiny. It fits right into my Shimoda Action X30. And I really can't imagine packing in a 100-400 with a Z6 on a trip, because I already had a hard time packing all the camera gear that I had on my last Hawaii trip, and the 24-200 was my main telephoto camera. So I really cannot imagine having a bigger lens over something like the 24-200. And smaller is always gonna be better. Of course, you know, you want the better image quality, but at the end of the day, is this camera gonna be the reason I don't get landscape images? Absolutely not. This is an incredible combo, and with a Z6 plus a 14-30, there's a lot to love there. Getting that 14 millimeters all the way to 300 with zero gap. So yeah, guys, I think it's really interesting, this combo in particular. This will be my main telephoto combo for a long time. Until there's something that comes out that's better than it, I really don't know how you can beat the Z30 plus the 24-200 for telephoto landscape photography. They just complement each other so well in terms of the weaknesses of the 24-200, in terms of corner sharpness as well as vignetting. And the Z30 just gets helped so much because of panoramas. We're able to increase that megapixel count along with the HDRs to have better dynamic range. They complement each other so well and cover a lot of each other's weaknesses. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think of the 24-200 and the Z30 for landscape photography. Is this a combo that you would consider using for your own work? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today, and please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.